Well, am I live? I think I'm live. Am I live? I think so. I think I'm live. I'm alive. I'm alive. I think we're alive. I think we're getting started. Welcome back to the influencer series. I think you're going to enjoy the guest today. It's a second time. A second time. He's part of the elite. He's part of one of the elite people that have come on for a second time onto this show. Not too many people have done that. First it was Fire Guy Ryan. And now it's Swagglehaus. He's going to be coming in very shortly. But before we do that, we're just going to have to get a couple things out of the way, like the hellos. We're going to do all the hellos.
Oh no!
Oh no!
No. The hellos are a good thing. We're gonna do the hellos and get them out of the way, and then there's gonna be no more hellos after that. Okay? Do you understand? That's how it works. That's how this show works.
Hey,
Huh? Oh, hey.
you're the Kool-Aid guy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just waiting.
For what?
I'm just waiting, dude. Relax. Hey, is there any place around here that sells batteries? Guys, don't distract me, all right? I gotta really be up.
So there's no organs or glands or anything, right? It's just a liquid?
Yeah, it's just a liquid.
I don't know if this is a weird question, but can I have some?
All right, fine. Tilt your head back and I'll lean my liquid down into your mouth.
Oh, now I don't want it.
Oh, crap. Did I miss it?
No, you didn't miss it because we didn't even start yet. We just started the intro. So let's get the hellos to everybody, and we'll get it going. We'll get it going because we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A ton of stuff. So let's first of all, let me say thank you and hello to my man BFit from New Zealand. I appreciate you dropping those links like crazy right at the get-go of the show. I did pin up the Swagglehaus's YouTube channel. You go click on it, subscribe to him, do that, whole support him thing. But don't do it while the show's going on. You wait. You watch this show, and then you go and enjoy his content. I don't want you going on there and stopping to watch this and then go on to one of his videos. Okay? So you could go subscribe and then go watch his stuff. Okay? That's how it's going to work. And then we're going to say hello to John Starr. Hello, John Starr. How are you? Wait, no, not you, BFit. We said hello to you already. John Starr. And then we say hello to Glenn. How are you, my man from Glenn from the UK? And we got Baby, Comics by the Bay. Hello, Matt. Marlboro Matt, my man. And we got K-pop junkie, who's been knocking out of the park like a maniac with her interviews. And we got Bleecker Street. We got Bleak all the way down from Bleecker Street Comics. How you doing, my man? And we got Jerry, the mad scientist of our community himself. One of my favorite human beings in the community. And at the same time, if you want to see must-see content and not know what the hell is going to happen next, you got to watch his stuff. You watch him mangle books and make them beautiful. Watch what you have to watch to understand what I'm talking about. Okay? And then who else do we have here? I think we got no. There's more people. We got Izzyverse. Hello there, Izzy. How are you doing, my friend? What are you doing coming to my? You're slumming? You're slumming coming to my channel? Is that what you're doing? You're slumming? Well, thank you very much for coming, by the way. Anyway, Brother Joe, how you doing, brother? My man, Brother Joe. And we got 23 Munch. Who else we got here? And we got Swaggle. No, Swagglehaus in the back room. I'm going to say hello to him when he comes on. I'm not saying hello to him now, right? All right, that's it. All right, so that's it. We got the worm. Hello, Naman. All right, and then we got Beckerman. Hello, Beckerman. Where's Muffy today? Anyway, we got him. And then who else do we have? We got the Immortal Biggie Shack. That's right. We got the Immortal Biggie Shack. Hashtag enjoy. And we got Sickotron all the way from up north. We got Canadians. We got Englishmen. We're prime time. That's right. We're always prime time. Whatever time this channel decides to go streaming, that's when it's prime time. It doesn't have to be 9:30. All right? I'm just saying. All right. And we got people from England, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, all over the freaking planet coming here to watch Swagglehaus. So without any further ado, we're going to play our intro, and then I'm going to roll Mr. Mickey, Mr. Writer. He's a writer. It's changed since the last time he's come on, the author. We're going to have him on right after the intro. Well, listen to me. Listen to me, Matt. If you like 10-minute intros, I could do a special favor for you and I could turn it into a 30-minute intro. How's that sound? How's that sound? Play your cards right, and I'll make the intros last for half an hour. That's what we'll do in the future. By the way, I want to say hello to Ozzy. I think I skipped. I was about to say hello to Kamikaze, and for some reason my brain froze and I didn't. So hello, Kamikaze. And now we got Lisa Noble as well. And that's it. That's it, people. We're done with the hellos. No more hellos. Okay? Say hello amongst yourself. No more hellos for me. Okay? That's it. Okay. I'll wave to you. When I see a new piece, I'll wave to you. That's it. You're gonna waving. You get the hand. Okay? We're gonna do that. Without further ado, let's have our guest come in. Swagglehaus.
Hey,
It's Swagglehaus.
how's it going? How's it
You're
going?
back. You're back.
I know it's this is a second appearance. Second.
We
I would make the joke.
we
Second
didn't get you off.
appearances are still collectible. In
Well,
the
that's,
comic
that's
space.
right. That's
But,
right. Well, listen, it's second appearance, but first appearance as a writer
Oh, that's true.
on a comic.
That's true. So this might be
So
the
it's kinda
more
like-
desirable
It
one.
might be because, like in the comics, it doesn't matter about the first appearance. The first appearance with the costume is what
That's
matters.
true. That's
And you
a good
kind of
point.
have your costume on now, so that kind of changes the dynamic of things.
That's true. That's true. Well, hopefully, hopefully this becomes a successful character / costume for me.
Well, do I have
Going
to call you
forward.
Mr. Finnegan?
Nah, we'll stick with Swagglehaus at this point.
All right, we're gonna stick with Swagglehaus. All right, so Swaggle. We're gonna
Yeah.
keep. with-
Although that was kind of an interesting thing of doing the comic. I was like, well, I'm doing it, and I think most people that are going to support it are going to know me as Swagglehaus, but I feel like I need to use my real name. So that became especially an interesting thing when somebody asked me to sign it, and I'm like, oh, am I supposed to sign Swagglehaus or sign Mickey?
What are you doing? What do you
I just
sign?
did both. I did both now, and now I have to just write the whole thing.
Well, that must be weird. Like a grown man calling himself Swagglehaus on his signature. That must be like a wrestler or something.
Yeah.
You're the incredible Swagglehaus now. You just sign like Hulk Hogan. Is his name Terry Bollea or is it Hulk Hogan? Sign
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan.
exactly.
That's it's been a wild roller coaster for you, right? It's been really fun. You got a lot of excitement out of it so far, right?
Yeah, it was definitely really, really fun. I got to do a bunch of the cons and stuff, and have that experience.
Speaking of
got
God,
to
we got
meet-
to actually meet. Not
got to
everybody
meet,
knows this.
the one and only. I'm one of the few who have seen your actual face. All the people in the
did.
chat.
You get to see Kool-Aid Man, big boy Kool-Aid Man. I see Big Man Kool-Aid Man came just for you today. He doesn't come out for everybody. He came for you today. So
Well,
you
I appreciate
this
it.
interview. It has to be one of the highest rated interview if he's going to come out for you. So we're going to make sure we're going to make this a good one.
Yeah,
So-
I will do my best.
Okay, I hope so. That's why I have you here for ratings. That's all we do. We bring the big names for ratings.
No, I think I feel like everyone just tunes out. Like, oh, not this guy again.
Speaking of Mr. Big Shot, you didn't get nominated in the CBC Awards. Did you realize that?
I did hear that. Yes, I did get a couple people sent me over the link. I didn't know that it was coming out, but definitely, yeah, it was a nice honor for sure to be amongst all the other great YouTubers and comic channels and things like that.
Well, are you excited about that? Does it stimulate you? Does it float your boat, or are you indifferent?
I think, well, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely nice. It's a nice to be thought of. I'll say that. So it's definitely an honor and stuff. I get a little, I don't know, maybe what would be the right way to describe it? Not embarrassed, but like shy about award stuff. Like it's tough for me to start the campaign trail like on my channel being like, hey guys, everyone should vote for me on this thing. So we'll just
So
let
you're
this fall the way they do.
You just let it go where it goes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you something. Okay, you realize this whole structure of this award kind of celebration that they're doing? It's basically the People's Choice Awards. It's basically the populace voting for their favorite channels. It's not on merit. I'm not taking away from merit from you, but I'm just saying it's not merit. It's because of we love you. That's why we're voting for you.
Yeah.
Would it
Yeah.
make a difference to you if it was a merit award like the Academy Awards versus the Blockbuster Awards?
Hmm. How do you
Would it
think
make
that
a
they could qualify? How would you quantify like the merit on it?
Oh, I could easily quantify the merit on it. You just put me in charge of it. You tell me,
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you who deserves things and who doesn't deserve things. Hey,
Well, then
you
you should just have the CJ Awards,
you
which
know what?
are
People have told me that. They
yeah,
have told me that, and I'm considering that. However, I'd like to be able to put a panel of at least 5, 6 other individuals with me just to legitimize it and make it look as if it's not just my bias, it's a couple of other really, really prestigious individuals in the community, like myself, that we can, in unity, say, you know what, this person deserves an award. This
yeah.
person deserves an award. You
You
want to
should
join
have
that
it like
panel?
you should have it like you're the electoral college, where it's like people get to vote, but really you get to choose.
No, no. People fuck up when they choose. You tell them what they like, and that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there was there's an old saying that my parents used to say to me, especially my mom, when I was a kid and I didn't like something and I wouldn't eat it. They say you're gonna eat it and you're gonna like it, and that, or you're gonna get your ass kicked, but you're gonna eat it and you like it, and that's a good mentality to have because you just spoon feed everybody everything, and you don't like it, open wider. It's gonna
Yeah.
go in, and that's it. You digest it, and that's
Just
it.
force it down. Yeah.
That's right. So you're interested in becoming part of that panel, and we could like just like in unity dictate and tell everybody who's good and who's not.
Sure. Yeah.
All
I
right,
mean, like,
fantastic.
will it be weird when all the awards go to you and me?
Well, it would be kind of weird,
It would be, yeah, yeah.
in respect to the rest of the community, we would exclude ourselves. We will
Okay.
give ourselves a special award and tell them how great we are. Well, we actually don't need it. We could just wear crowns.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just wear crowns, and we'll exclude ourselves from the people we honor, and we'll do it amongst our peers. We could find some really good people to do it. So good. All right, we'll
like that.
work on that project immediately tomorrow. We'll get still maybe even after the stream we'll get on it. I don't know. I'm excited now. Now who should we add to the mix? What other manipulator and mastermind should we get to join us?
I mean, I feel like all the people, it's like the Terrificon club here, that was formed. It's like I think someone put out in the chat. It's like the Rudy saying the new Illuminati. It's like we have
Well,
to
you
meet
know
each
what?
other in person and conspire together.
You know very well if I get into the butcher's ear and Forge's ear, we might get something going over here.
Yeah.
And they did agree to come on in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be an interesting scenario when I have them on as well, because I'm going to recruit them too. And it's going to get dynamic. We're going to have the Pressables with us. Maybe they'll have to agree. We'll twist their arm. They'll agree. We get them. We got the Swagglehaus. Well, what else do you think we should get? Who else should we get?
Well, it seems like now we got to get the north of the border. We got to get a good Canadian boy on the.
Let's get Ozzy.
Yeah,
let's get Ozzy to balance the odds.
Yeah.
We'll put a nice good old Canadian boy in there.
Yeah,
he likes his maple syrup. Perfect. We'll add him in there, and then we'll find somebody from the Pacific, Asia, or something like that. So we could say we're diversified, and we could say we're international. All right, because they can say, "Oh, it's all North America." No, we'll find somebody from another continent, not England. I don't want those Brits. They freak me out.
Yeah, Australia is a good one. We'll find someone in Australia.
I don't know about Australians. Maybe we'll do Australia or somewhere in the Asia.
Yeah,
and maybe I don't know. The Brits kind of freak me out with their fishing.
I don't know if people in Asia care so much about American comic books.
That's true. They might force feed us manga and make us vote for a manga.
Yeah, we're gonna have to half the awards is gonna go to manga books and manga content creators.
And maybe we'll have to think about it. We'll revisit it. Let's not detract. This is not about that. This is about you. You were honored. Congratulations for making an award. I don't know if you knew. I made it as well for my beautiful hands. I did. I did get a nomination for my Hands Award, which I am going to reject when I win it. I'm going to reject it because I find it a farce. A farce. They only made that award in order to appease me, to shut me up about the awards. And when I win it, I'm going to do a Marlon Brando, and I'm going to send some Native American over there and tell them about the rainforest, and then we're going to reject it. That's what we're going to do. That's it.
I think that's probably a wise thing, because now that you say that, I'm like, well, you're in a bad spot, because if you win it, then it's going to feel like pandering. But if you lose it, it's going to be like, how could you lose the award where your hands are at the forefront? That would feel even worse.
Rigged? Maybe. I don't know. But we'll see. I'm against a whole bunch of bearded people. How's that make any sense? Anyway, we'll leave that story for another day.
Yeah.
So you were a very busy swaggle since I last met you. You finished Sanity. I read Sanity. You know what? I read Sanity, and I actually have a copy right here. And son of a bitch. Oh, hold on. There we go.
It's a 9.6 now.
No, that didn't drop. Something else dropped. Okay. This is still in 9.8, 9.9 maybe. Tell Bry. I might have a 9.9 Sanity in my hands.
You could.
Because I got 3 of them. So I get to pick one of them. I'm going to send them to CGC, and they're going to pick the best one of them, and then they're going to destroy the rest. And I'm going to have one of one, 9.9s in my hands. That's why I won't let you sign it.
Yeah,
I won't let you sign it because you're going to fuck it up if you sign it. So we're gonna just leave it nice and clean. That's all we're gonna do. I'm going to have you sign this. You can sign this.
Yeah, I'll sign that.
Don't touch my comic. You can sign this, and we'll be okay. But I did get to read it. And by the way, if everybody's wondering, I went and I purchased them by myself. I didn't freaking go and beg freaking, we met, give me a free copy. No, I didn't do that because I know there's some freaking giveaway trolls out there that always ask for shit. You know what I'm going to do with one of the copies that I bought? I'm going to give it away in a future time. I don't know when I feel like it, and it's only going to be to somebody I like, a giveaway troll that I like. I'm not going to give it to one that I don't like. I'll figure out how to do it. Maybe I'll torture them into giving it away, but I'll give it away, and I'm going to keep 2 for myself. One just because I read it, and then the other from the gazillions, and that's how it's going to work. So I did read it. The art is beautiful inside of it. I know that it's been digitally colored. That's what it looks like. It's been digitally colored.
Yes.
But I don't get that really off-putting digital color that you get in a lot of the indie books. So I was curious how you printed it. What was your source? So what printers did you use to actually print it? Did you go through the Wellsprings or one of these type of facilities like a lot of people do?
Yeah. So I ended up using a company called Print Ninja,
Print Ninja, they're good.
Yeah, printninja.com. They're kind of like, I'd say, one of the main sort of go-to indie comic printing facilitators. There probably is, in the industry, although they themselves are not a printer, but they just do a lot of the facilitating. So it was a good process. It was really streamlined. You just go into their site and you can put in your order. And for me, I wanted I wanted to try to make the materials a little bit nicer. So I chose a heavier page with a glossier look, because it's you learn a lot about doing this whole manufacturing side of it, and how big of a difference it can make, in the quality or the perceived quality of the book, and comparing it to a lot of other stuff, you realize how much some of the big 2 skimp on the materials. So I wanted to make sure that it felt good in the hand.
Well, that's the one component that I don't think a lot of people talk about, the process of going through the paper and that kind of thing. Did you have to go through a bunch of samples and that kind of thing prior to picking it out, or did you know what you wanted?
Well, so I did get a sample book that I looked at, and then I was lucky enough to have a friend who also did some printing stuff, and I had his comic book, and he was like, "Oh, I use this paper material and all this stuff." So I kind of knew, I kind of want to be in this stock of paper stock quality. So,
and it's funny that you use Print Ninja, because for I want to say about 5, 6 years, Print Ninja was the standard that most indie people were using. Over the past 2 years, past years, and then maybe a year and a half, you've been seeing a big swell going towards Wellspring. So I'm curious to see how they're going to keep competing with each other and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I have your website inside the in the description of this video, along with your social, YouTube, and IG. I don't know if there's anything else. If there is anything else, you tell me. I'll put it in there. But on the website, you do have a few copies left of this. Last I checked, right? You're
Yeah,
not completely sold out.
yeah. You can
I
still
know
order
you
it.
sold out some of the good stuff, which I got pissed because you had that horror. I told you I wanted that horror cover, and it sold out, which kind of
Yeah,
may
Blue's
have
really
been better for my pocket that I didn't
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah,
because it was the most expensive one that was in there. But I like the fact that you gave options to people, because that's
Yeah.
one of my pet peeves. When somebody puts out a unproven type of entity, a unproven type of book, something that's a startup, like what you did yourself. Yes, people know you and they're gonna back you up. And even if you put the price $100 up for a book, you're gonna get a group of supporters that will pay that amount of money. However, you take away a whole section of people that would have given it a chance if it was cheaper. So I like the fact that you put the cover A's, I believe for like $5.99 or $6. Is
Yes.
that right? If
Yeah,
I remember right?
5.99.
And then the next one up was like $20 or something, and
Yeah,
then the next one up was like 65, or I don't remember exactly. But you had different tiers. You basically gave somebody the option to get some books, because I could actually read this and not feel bad about fucking it up if I read it, because I want to
Sure.
enjoy it, than if I got a special variant book or that kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
there's been a pet peeve of mine with a lot of startups and Kickstarters where they come in and their lowest priced book is 20 or $30. And
Yeah.
a lot of times they're not even a proven entity. It's not even the price of the book, whatever the case is. Like I said, you're buying a $20, $30 book, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to read it. You're not going to give a crap. You're just buying it for the novelty of it at that point.
Yeah.
You know? So I like what you did. And we're going to get into that a little later on, as far as your structures and when you're going to be releasing all the books and that kind of thing. But just know, everybody, that we do have the links for that if you need to go and check it out. You did sell out of some of the other books.
Yeah.
What's left? One in C, I think.
Yeah. So the cover A, which you have in front of you, and then there's a cover C, which I have to do a count, but I think I literally have like 10 copies left of like 220 that were put out.
How much of a pain in the ass was it after you got everything to fulfill everything, to actually pack
Oh my
everything
God.
and send it out?
That was the worst part, for sure, of like the whole process, just doing it. I mean, there's like a lot of little like knickknacks and little stickers and all this stuff that I also wanted to put in there. And obviously I wanted it to feel nice when people got it, and that it presented nice, it was packaged nice. And so I had me and my sister and a friend of mine all sort of helped me do it. But obviously, like, I'm the one that knows how to do it. So it was quite the tedious effort to ship it. And I didn't think that it was going to be a lot, because it's like, we've all maybe sold some comics before and packaged stuff, but it definitely was a lot when like each one, had a little, you have the bag right there, but I had to stamp all the bags.
Well, that's what I wanted to show off.
Yeah.
You even put a little stamp on the brown bag,
Yeah.
which I like the fact that he threw the brown bag, because it gave that comic shop feel to it.
Yeah.
When you put it in, and then you put that stamp. However, I didn't get any fucking knickknacks. Where's my knickknacks?
Oh,
You
well, the
said
knickknacks were for the Kickstarter.
Well, I think
That was the incentive to get people to do the Kickstarter one. So the on my website, it just comes in the bag.
Well, next time I'm going to Kickstarter so you can give me knickknacks.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. That's what the knickknacks are for.
I didn't jump on it because by the time I looked at it, you already had reached your goal, which we're going to talk about that, because you actually did really, really well for your first Kickstarter. It was your first Kickstarter, right? You haven't done another one before this?
Yeah.
Amazingly well. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And maybe you'll be able to share some tips for some of the people that are watching as far as how to do a successful Kickstarter. And I think you should actually do a full video about that, because I think you'll be amazed how many people really, really love that learning type of video.
Yeah, no,
You love pulling out the whiteboard. You love pulling out the professor hat
yeah,
on. That's not a bad one to do. What made you
yeah.
pick Kickstarter over Indiegogo or any of the other crowding platforms?
I think
Crowdfunding.
I mean, for me personally, it was just my first time. So just I think the name brand of Kickstarter was just like the most alluring to me because I didn't have an opinion one way or another of like which one was better, Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So I just went with Kickstarter. It seemed like it made sense, and I figured that would be, this just the have maybe the most eyeballs on it. And while I definitely have like my things that I learned along the way and like little like nitpicky sort of issues with Kickstarter on their back end, I felt for the most part the process was pretty straightforward. So it was a good experience, and yeah, I was really
So you
fortunate.
didn't play around with the other crowdfunding sources, or like kind of do the whole filling out of them. You just knew what you wanted to do right from the get go.
Yeah. Maybe I watched some YouTube videos about like, Kickstarter versus Indiegogo and people breaking it down, but I didn't spend too much time thinking about it. I just was like, okay, this Kickstarter seems good. I'll just try this.
And how was your experience working with Kickstarter?
It was good. It was good. I mean, there's a little bit of like, you gotta ramp up for it for sure. We can definitely get in the weeds of it. And yeah, I do want to do, at some point, I definitely want to do like a video talking about it.
You don't need to give me that. I just wanted to know, was it good or bad?
I would say that generally speaking, it was pretty good. Like it was smooth. Everything worked. I think that there's little features on the back end that are lacking, and maybe some of the fulfillment options aren't as streamlined as they could be. And I know if you're somebody who backs on Kickstarter, it's a little bit weird how to check out, like, or pay for the order and then like process and put in your shipping address and stuff. It's just a little bit confusing, so it just takes a little bit of hand holding. But overall, it was a good experience.
Good. That's good. That's good to hear, because a lot of people hesitate to make a move like that because of that whole process. They get intimidated, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of reading and maybe talking to somebody that actually knows what they're doing in order to be able to go and do something like that. So
yeah,
I'm not going to get into the Swagglehaus origin. I'm not going to get into your beginnings. I'm not going to get into the YouTube channel beginnings, because you have the previous video that we did that you could get into that, people, and you could go watch it again and find out all about how Mickey became Swagglehaus and how he started his channel and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You can get all that information. We're diving into what made the Swagglehaus a writer. So tell us a little bit about your process right now in the writing process, because you do have a little bit more of a basis and a more base than a lot of the other people that might want to get started, because you had a little bit of understanding of writing and everything, going a lot of understanding of writing before you even started. What was how did you get going on the comic itself? Like how difficult was it writing the comic, then a short story, then a novel, then any other type of form of writing that you would do?
Yeah. So outside of my YouTube, I'm here in LA and I work in film, and I've directed a lot, and I've written screenplays and things like that, and I do a lot of screenwriting for video game companies from time to time. And so like I had a familiarity with screenwriting at the very least, and then obviously a huge comic fan and made my YouTube channel and stuff. And so I started to, like, maybe about a year and a half ago, started to think like, it might be kind of fun to write a comic book. Like maybe this could be a way that people could support me, and I can do kind of like a creative goal for myself to do this, because it would be like, such a dream to check it off of the bucket list. And so I kind of just dove into it. I mean, it's similar, maybe creative muscles, like different little technical muscles, right? Because you have to sort of describe a panel. And so I did a lot of time just kind of reading formats and stuff, but I don't know if you're familiar with like doing storyboards for like a movie. It's not too dissimilar than that. So it was a little bit of a learning curve, but much like anything, you know, at a certain point, you just got to say, I'm going to do it. You start writing down some ideas, and then you look at the blank page in a coffee shop and you just start writing. Like that's, you know, eventually what it takes. And then so that's kind of what the process was for me. And so I wrote the first 6 issues, which is kind of where it's all going to go from there. And then, yeah, after that, it was putting the team together to make it happen.
It's funny you mentioned storyboard. That's actually one of my favorite things to do. Actually, I love doing storyboards more than anything else. More than sequential, more than anything else. But storyboards are the most fun. So, did you actually doodle like little sketches while you were putting together the premise to the story to be able to give it to the artist and for them to understand what you were looking at, or did you just hand them the dialogue and tell them run with it? How did that work?
I kind of hit him with so I wrote it out like if you look at my script, it'll be like, okay, page 1, and then it'll be a panel 1, and then it'll say like kind of a little bit of a description. It might go as prescriptive as like high angle, you know, or something to that effect, and then the dialogue will come in. So I really just gave him the script, and then we talked a lot about like the art style, and a lot of why I chose him is because I just felt like his style was going to be great. So, you know, it's like in the collaboration with the creatives and stuff. It's a lot of.
How did you pick him, by the way? Like, what was the final catalyst about choosing him? Where? How did you discover this person?
So a friend of a friend, I think it was. I actually shout out to Pressable Defects. They had a Adam Barnhart, who's like another writer who's like a friend of their guys's. He had a little Kickstarter and did a comic and stuff, and had worked with this artist before. And so I kind of like discovered him through that. And then I just sort of went on to all his like artist page and Facebook and thought his work was amazing. So I just reached out to him, or I had my friend kind of do a little bit of an intro, or maybe he gave me his email or something. So I just did a cold reach out, and he was into it. You know, I sent him I did a whole pitch for it, like a pitch packet and a treatment, so he could like see what it was all about.
And how quickly did it work? Did it keep up with your expectations as far as being able to keep up with the art?
Yeah, I think he was very, very disciplined on it. I mean, we talked about it, and so we kind of set an expectation of like, okay, how long is it going to take, and what feels right and stuff. And you know, I was very wanted to make sure that he felt comfortable with it. So like, you know, I paid him, you know, upfront 50%, you know, right away. So I was like, hey, like I'm serious about this. I have faith in this, and then 50% on the delivery. So it was a
When
good.
Are you gonna learn, Swaggle? When are you gonna learn?
Oh, we had a little deal memo and all that good stuff. So, you know, I mean,
don't give people money up front, man. Don't.
No, you have
$5 grand in comics. We talked about that the last time we talked. You gotta
wait. That's different. This is their first 50, you know, final 50. You know, you got to do that.
No. Here, take a little bit. Let me see a couple pages. I'll give you a little bit more. Let me see a couple pages.
Okay, you know, wait. That is fair. He delivered 5 pages first, and then I gave him his first.
Okay. I'm just saying. You know, I'm saying don't get fooled, because they'll get you.
It's true. It's true.
They'll get you, these dirty artists. They'll get you. And I say,
yeah,
you gotta work on my schedule.
Artists, you know, as you know, artists are they're an interesting bunch. You know,
they are. You know, they're good though. I like them. You know,
yeah.
I'm more of an artist than a writer.
Yeah.
So I tend to favor the artist. However, I know that a lot of them could fuck you. So I'll leave it at that. You know?
For sure. No, you were right. I do. That was how it worked. He did deliver 5 pages first, and then I paid him for 12, and then he delivered. You know, so that's very inside baseball stuff. But yeah, there was a little bit of checks and balances with it.
Listen, I don't have trust issue. I know better. I grew up in New York. I know how it is. So I just, you know, trust enough. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But, you know, listen, it depends. If you're dealing with a major artist or something, they're not going to even drop one drop of ink unless they get paid in full. Some of them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, depending on how big of a diva you're working with. But, you know, at this point, you know, this guy is not Delato, because, you know, Delato belongs to Bry. But how you call it? He's not Delato, so he could actually work with you on that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
how long did it take you actually from the minute you put the pen down to the paper to actually get started, to get started and end that first issue? Or did you have to like finish the whole arc so you could feel complete?
I finished writing the whole arc. So I think
Okay.
what did it take me to write the whole thing? I want to say it took me, I don't know, I did it over the course of 8 to 10 weeks, like not straight, but just, something that I was working on and when I could make time. So yeah, it took me about 2.5 months.
2.5 months. And do you feel like if you were to do another arc and another mini series, so to say, you'd be able to do it quicker, knowing what you did the first time around?
Yeah.
Was there a lot of trial and error and that kind of thing the first time around, or?
I think I could do it faster this time around because I know that I'm working towards it. When I wrote it, I was like, yeah, I think I'll do this, but I don't know. I was half in, half out. So it was more of like on my free time and stuff. And then that was a lot of it too, right? Where it's like, I mean, even the day before the Kickstarter, I was like, I don't know if anyone other than my mom is going to support this. So it felt very far away at that
Did
point.
you really have those reservations? Did you really have doubts in your mind that you would hit the Kickstarter? I forgot what the initial goal was. It wasn't huge, the goal.
No, it was 10K. I mean, it's like I feel like I'm like, yeah, I think I'll hit the goal, but I was still nervous for sure. I was still a little nervous.
And what made you decide to put a 10K goal and not lower, not higher?
I think 10K was like, okay, what is actually gonna the cost for printing? I got a quote on that. It could be like $5,000 or so, and then fulfillment in its own right is going to be, it was like 3,000 plus. So to me, it was like, okay, if I can just be around 8K, 10K, that's going to make it, I got to buy the Gemini mailers. I got to do all that stuff, So I was like, okay, this is going to be the let me cover the costs of production for this. And that was kind of it.
And when you decided to go launch with the Kickstarter, did you have all your ducks in a row at that point? Was everything complete at that point and basically only needing a printing, or was there still odds and ends left?
Everything was complete. The only thing that wasn't complete was maybe a few, like a credits page. And in my Kickstarter, I had a thank you tier. So it was like people would be like in the book. So like I had to make that page,
Which is not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. And then I think I might have had 1 or 2 variant covers that were still being worked on, or like it was enough to show on the Kickstarter, but they weren't complete. But I basically was done with it because I didn't want the anxiety of not being done.
And by the time the Kickstarter was over, you were done with all those odds and ends anyway at that point, right?
Yeah. There were little
except for the sponsor stuff, and
yeah. There were little things that had to be worked out and figured out and all that stuff. But it was, for the most part, the goal was to launch it where I would be in a place basically ready to fulfill it versus having to have like the trust of people. Some people do their Kickstarter and it's like, okay, see you guys in a year, and then they actually have to work on stuff.
That's the reason I asked that, because it's actually refreshing the fact that you had all your ducks in a row. Like, let's say, call it 95% complete at that point, where you have other Kickstarters where they're not even a quarter of the way through.
Yeah.
They got some images, they got maybe a couple covers, maybe got a couple of storylines together where they're pitching an idea, not a product.
Right.
Where in a lot of cases, people actually got screwed out of their money because they funded a Kickstarter that never actually came to fruition.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I was really actually pretty nervous about. I mean, I knew it would be fine, but I was still nervous of like, okay, this is my first time doing this. I really don't want to put myself in a situation, especially since like I have a YouTube channel and stuff. It's like, I don't want that to like get people upset that I didn't fulfill, or like some weird,
well, you had a reputation to keep.
Yeah.
Basically, and not only that, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do for sure.
You don't seem like one of these guys that seem like a complete asshole to me. Maybe you're a little bit of asshole. You're Hollywood in you, but
yeah.
But you're not a complete asshole. I don't think you're out there to screw people out of money or anything like that. And I
No.
like the fact that you had everything complete. So that's a really, really good thing. So you took about 2.5 months. You had already picked out your artist at that point. You knew who you were using at that point. He gets working. From when you started to when he ended, how long was that whole process?
Well, that one was, it was like, because we're just doing it on the side. And this is one of the things with like when you're doing, the kind of indie projects and stuff. So it took me, I said like 10 weeks, let's say, to write it, but I didn't actually find him like right while I was writing it. It was like,
Okay.
I took 10 weeks to do it. I thought, is this something I want to do? I put together a treatment for it, a pitch for it. At one point I was like, oh, like, do I want to put this away? Blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't like immediately, right? It wasn't like all steam ahead. But then eventually I did find him. And then I would say it took him, what was his pace? So maybe like he did a page every 2 or 3 days. He was able to do a page, or a little longer than that. So six weeks for him or so.
Just giving you guys a heads up, knucking futz and amongst everybody else. I'm starring whatever questions I see, and I'm definitely going to ask them all after towards the end with the Q&A. I want to keep the hey, stop moving around, cool. Okay, listen. No questions until Q&A. I will star you, and I will remember you, unless there's something that's bizarre and we have to answer on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. Just saying. Okay. But yeah, that whole process is really interesting. So, like, we talked about the whole process of how you got to where you got. So, tell us a little bit about the story in your own words, without you spoil it as much as you want to spoil it. This is your baby, so
Sure.
you tell us all about Sanity, the rise of the occult.
Yeah. So Sanity is
Got a subtitle. Usually, the second series has a subtitle. You put a subtitle right from the beginning.
oh yeah, because once we get to the next arc, it's going to have a new subtitle. That's how it's going to work. But yeah, Sanity is sort of it's a Lovecraftian pulp adventure. It's kind of like an homage to like the golden age detective style of comics with a sort of a horror twist to it. But it's about a private investigator, Robert Grant, who gets hired by a famous actress socialite in Hollywood during the 1930s to investigate the disappearance of her brother. And so he kind of goes on this mission to find out what happened. And through that process kind of discovers, sort of mysterious, strange, occultist things going on, and kind of gets pulled down this rabbit hole of craziness. So that's kind of the log line of what it is. And it's if you're sort of somebody who likes that, maybe that Agatha Christie sort of mystery novel, or you like a little bit of Indiana Jones Temple of Doom sort of stuff, like this is kind of the lane that Sanity is in.
Well, I haven't picked up on the Indiana Jones yet, but I guess I have to read a little bit more into it, because there is a lot of stuff going on in this first one as far as building to something. I don't know what that something is going to be yet. I have my ideas where it's going to go, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody else, and I don't want to ruin it for myself either. But I'm definitely getting some of those old school vibes, that old school mystery / thriller / I don't know yet if it's going to be quite horror or fantasy yet. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in there, so it's hard to put like an exact genre on it yet until I see that whole story. Only you know that story, but the vibe I'm getting is that old school detective vibe going on. You did a couple of really, really deep cuts as far as some of the research that you did with some of the terms that I told you behind the scenes about that Lucky Strikes line that you threw in there that I found really interesting. That like your average person is not going to know these kind of things without doing the research. So I actually feel really, really pleased with the fact that you did your research and you just didn't sit there and half-assed it the way I see a lot of writers do, We're like, I got a good idea. I know how to write, but they don't do any research. It's written very beautifully because they know how to write and structure sentences and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
thoughts and dialogues. But there's no substance to it, and there's no research to it. You actually put this thought into it to actually do a little bit of historical kind of researching into it, which I actually appreciate. I don't know how
Okay.
much
Yeah.
everybody else does, but I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Uh,
No, I'm glad you noticed that. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to. I did a lot of Googling while I was writing to make sure. It's like, sometimes you just sort of forget or take for granted of like, yeah, they had
why are you
phones in
googling?
1930, right?
Why are you googling? Googling's for the devil, man. They don't do the Google. They don't do the Google. Britannica.
Encyclopedia reading.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pick up an old Britannica or
Yeah,
World.
Britannica. It just had a whole series off here.
Do you still have one?
No. I feel like, but now it's probably getting to the point where they're probably collectible.
Yeah. You want to hear something crazy? You go find some of those early century encyclopedias and you tell me how much they're going for.
Oh
It'll
yeah.
blow it will blow your freaking mind, especially the stuff that has stuff that's no longer allowed to be put in there, like the stuff that they omitted, like
Right.
Stuff that was part of history that somehow disappeared out of history. All those old encyclopedias are worth big money now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the first edition books are definitely big time collectibles.
I was reading some books that they had like a lot of depictions of old head hunting and shrunken heads and all that stuff like that were cut out of later versions. That hey, listen, you have a cycle for every kind of collecting there's out there. So you get people that love like the bizarre and the freak show stuff, and like in those old encyclopedias, they had all that stuff in there. So it's interesting, really interesting. So there you go. There's your new way to collect. Go get some encyclopedias.
Yeah, encyclopedia spec.
Encyclopedia spec. But since I did touch on Google for a second, I'm going to ask you a question I've been asking every single writer and every single artist that I've had their ear. How do you feel about AI right now? In both occasions, writers and for artists.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's my dog making a cameo. I think there's no stopping the AI train.
Who was that? Who was that? Who was that?
Oh, that was my doggie.
Oh, that was your doggie.
Yeah. She was she was right here off to the side, but then she decided to go to bed.
But we got a cameo. We got a Swaggle Dog cameo.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, AI, there's no stopping the AI trend. This is what I think. I mean, it's like, obviously it's a big thing, and maybe we'll touch on some of the writer strike stuff and what they feel. And certainly there's a lot of people that are, and maybe they're right to do so, want to hold off the tidal wave that is to come of AI as long as possible to protect their jobs. But it feels like, I mean, this is going to be a thing that we kind of have to exist with, and we're going to have to use it as a tool, like artists and writers alike. But it also still feels like it's probably a decent time away.
Well, do you feel that right now, as it exists, AI right now as it exists, do you feel it's a direct threat to writers and artists, or one or the other more than the other?
I think AI could bang out like maybe a decent variant cover, but if you're talking like AI doing sequential art or actually writing a script that is actually, a good script or a good comic or whatever, I don't think it's there yet. I think it's probably more effort to get ChatGPT to write a script and to prompt it and to rewrite it to get a good screenplay out of it than it would be to just get a screenwriter to do a screenplay at this point. At some point,
yeah, I feel the same way. There's a lot of editing that has to be done right now. So what do you feel is a bigger threat? Do you feel AI is a bigger threat, or overseas workers working for $1.25 an hour today?
I feel like the biggest, well, if we're talking about like,
no, I'm talking about the American writers and artists, or people in the free world.
I think the biggest threat is the amount of media that exists in the world. I think the biggest threat to movies and TV are YouTube shows like this. You know, it's like everyone hanging out in the chat with us, or we're just doing this. Like everyone who's hanging out here, like we're choosing to do this over watch some Netflix show right now. And I'd rather do this. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather hang out in a YouTube stream and talk comic books with people than like watch a whatever TV show. And I think that that's the biggest challenge, you know?
Wow. That is an answer I don't think I've heard anybody tell me. It's great. You dodged the question by answering that. Because I asked you which one is a bigger threat of the two. I'm going to still hold you to answer.
Oh, you're right.
That.
You're right. I did slide it.
However, I do like that answer because there's a lot of validity to that.
Yeah.
This right now, what we're doing is cutting away people that would be watching NBC or ABC or whatever they're going to be watching. That is a bigger threat. But again, it is human done.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, especially with the bigger channels, they're all being monetized, and they are whether the major media outlets, whether the networks want to believe it or whether they want to admit to it or not, they are an alternative source of entertainment. Much like how UHF television back in the 60s and 70s and 80s was available, you know, where you used to go and the little static used to come up and you see that shitty channel that you're getting from some pirated television station.
Yeah.
Or whether you're watching the original cable networks, they were poo-pooed on as well in the beginning from the networks. This is basically the evolution of where entertainment and broadcasting is going.
Totally.
So either they're gonna have to join it, or don't, or like crumble at the end of the day. Because how long do you feel network TV is gonna survive in its current form?
I mean, there's probably always going to be something that exists, you know, but but in its current form, it's going to change for sure. You know,
It has to. I mean, look at the ratings the Olympics have been getting.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is like
they've been cutting out Olympic sports out of it because they're not getting the ratings.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and everything is this, you know, it has to. If it doesn't get the ratings, there's no like there's no for the purity of the games. It's like, okay, well, what are people going to watch? That's what people are going to create, or they're going to broadcast or whatever. So it's an interesting time, and I think it's way harder for movies and TV to capture culture in the same way they used to. Like, sure, every now and again you can have like Barbie come out and it can be like the cultural phenomenon and stuff, but like by and large, like you don't like. So much of the culture is say a viral Instagram video that everyone is passing around, or like this random TikTok, or like a Joe Rogan podcast or whatever. Like, and so it's just hard. Like you as a person who wants to be involved in culture doesn't have to see Blue Beetle to participate in the conversation. You know what I mean? So like that's why I think is tough for movies too.
Well, let's get into this for a second, since we are talking about this, and it is related to what you're doing as well. You just wrote a book. You're planning on finishing it at 6 issues, and if depending on the success of it, you're going to decide to make a second arc or a second series. Okay. Now you're doing this. I know that when you're writing, but I know how brains are wired, and I know that the canned response is going to be, I'm writing it for the joy of it and that, but there's got to be something in the back of your mind that says, let me write this in a particular way where in case a studio, in case some other outlet takes a look at it, they could actually take this and adapt it to their form, like a movie or a TV show. I'm sure that had to go through your mind. I get the canned response from so many people telling me that it's not, but when you're reading it, it makes no sense. You know that it's catered for that in a certain way. It could be left alone, but it could be adapted. As far as what I've read so far, I've only read one issue. I have to read the whole thing to make that decision. But how do you feel like the fact that your chances of getting something that's going to be substantial to go into a media outlet like a movie or a television show or a streaming series, might be dwindling by the day because of the way the networks are collapsing. Like doesn't that like kind of give you like a little bit of anxiety? And looking at what's happening with the writers right now and the strikes, like aren't they looking at that same thing going on right now? Instead of like making more demands, maybe thinking about how they could make better products to better platforms for their products to be seen.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit from your insight, because you know a lot more than the average person on this.
Well, I mean, and look, there's a lot of good, great, I'm sure super talented film people and everything, but I've been in this film world for a long time, and it's really cutthroat. It's really hard, right? Like you're only as good as the last thing that you've done. And the truth and the reality is that in most entertainment fields, there's more people who want to do it than the industry can support. So whether that be musical acts or comic book writers and artists or actors or filmmakers or whatever, right? Like there's more people that want to be a part of it than can actually be successful in it. So, I mean, for me, it's like, I see where the wind is going, and it's like, okay, well, as a creative, I just have many irons in the fire. Like I just don't marry myself to one lane of creativity or entertainment. I do screenwriting on the side. Okay, where a WGA is doing a strike. Okay, I'm going to spend more time doing my YouTube Swagglehaus thing, or I'm going to spend more time doing my comic book thing. So I think for a lot of the writer stuff, like my feeling is it's like, cool. Like I hope it all works out, and I hope the WGA can get what they want. But at the same time, like I'm kind of tired of waiting for like some studio's permission to create, So, talk about the AI thing and stuff, and it's just like, cool. Like if you give me the tools to make an Avengers movie by myself right now, like I feel pretty confident that I'll make a better one than what Marvel Studios is making right now. And so I think you just have to have a little bit more of like
Well, as long as you get the handcuffs taken off of you.
What's that?
As long as you get the handcuffs taken off of you, because
Yeah.
part of the problem with a lot of the writing right now, there's either handcuffs on a lot of the writers, or there's agendas that are being followed. So that's a problem.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you have to work in a corporate structure, and there's a lot of like, plates you have to spin, and it's just like you watch a movie and you're like, well, why does that scene work in there? And it's like, well, probably because they had to like do the Pepsi tie-in scene, so it's like it's not always what's in best service to the story. Sometimes there's just a lot of corporate stuff that has to be.
And are you part of the Writers Guild?
So I'm a DGA member. I'm in the Directors Guild.
All right, so you're in the Directors. So you're on strike as well with everybody else.
Yeah, well, DGA is not on strike.
Oh, they're not on strike.
No, DGA signed their deal or worked it out. Yeah, and I'm not an expert. I'm not like super versed in the weeds of the details and all that stuff. But they're one of the unions that actually did come to terms.
Okay, so that's actually a positive thing for you and for all the directors out there. But let's say they were on strike still, the way the others are, and you wanted to work. Do you resent the fact that you want to work and they're forcing you to stay behind the lines and not work? Because that's always been a problem with the union structure for me. Somebody might really need to work. They need the money. And the union is not supplementing. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're not supplementing by giving you money to live while they're all on strike. So if you got rent to pay and you got bills to pay, and you literally were like somebody like that's new to the business or a very little time in the business, and you're working from paycheck to paycheck, and you need those paychecks to come in, and you desperately need to work, I would personally resent that. And I say, I want to work. Let me work.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not getting paid enough, but I need to work in the meantime. I need to do something.
For sure. It's really hard. I mean, like, there are definitely people who I would say are frustrated with the leadership of some of the unions that think maybe some of the unions, whether it be SAG union or WGA, that maybe they're being too what do you call it? Like too unreasonable. There's definitely people that feel that way, but like as a union
Well,
member,
some of the stuff is ludicrous that they're asking. Some of it is very valid.
yeah, some of it's super valid, and then yeah, some of it is just like I just don't know if you're going to get that, But like the yeah, it is frustrating because one of the things I think that might be like maybe something people don't know is that your union doesn't get you work. All the union does for you is create some of the guardrails and protections of like, okay, here's
It's
minimum
like the
pay.
old mob that would
Yeah,
shake down their freaking stores and say, listen, Mr. Grocery owner, you're going to pay me this much this week, or we don't know what's going to happen.
yeah,
In the case of a problem, we're not going to be around to help you out. That's basically what they're doing. In other
yeah.
words,
There's definitely a little element of that, and so I think that there can be resentment for some union members that it's like, I mean, frankly, the union. I had to join the union because I wanted to work in this industry. They don't get me work to begin with. They've never really done anything for me, and now
they
I'm in
take
a
a
place
nice
where I
chunk.
can't work.
They,
So
they also take a nice chunk out of you.
yeah, and ideally there are things that there are benefits that you get. I mean, it's hard to say that. I mean, there are some things like
Yeah, unless your pension is not being taken care of the right way, and then 30 years down the line, you're like, "What the fuck happened to my pension?"
yeah, that's something that I wouldn't really rely on. I mean, like there are things where it's like think of this like SAG-AFTRA of all the actors in SAG, only 3% of all the actors qualify for healthcare through SAG. So it's like, yeah, they give you benefits, but like, I mean, what kind of benefits are we really talking about here? Cool. When you do book that TV gig, great. You get to make sure that you have a certain minimum payment, but like, you're still only booking that one gig once a year, if that, for a lot of people. So it's tough, it's tough.
So that being said, knowing the inner workings of the union, I personally, on a personal level, believe that unions all started off for a very logical and
Yeah.
needed reason, and evolved into some type of monster over time. Same thing happened in Detroit and a lot of different steel industry over in Pennsylvania. Like there's a whole litany of how unions started a certain way and turned into another thing. But do you feel that comic creators actually should form a union of some sort to protect themselves in some way, whether it's artists, writers, or both?
It's like, it's just, I think it might, like, I don't know how in execution it would work. I think that's the problem, because I think eventually Marvel Publishing and DC Publishing, which they're already doing this, would just hire some artist in Colombia to do sequential art and do all their stuff. And it's too competitive to enforce. And then there's always going to be like a young up and coming person who is like the next person, and they just want to get in the door. So they're willing to work for, a quarter of the rate. So if they unionize, I mean, how much power would they have to unionize? It might be difficult,
It's too based off of independent contractors in order to make it
Yeah.
really, really work. And the truth be said, a lot of people don't realize this, that all contracts and all agreements with new and older artists and more legendary artists, whatever the case is, are not created equal. You could have two wet behind the ears artists that just have different ways of being able to negotiate and know their worth in a different way, and being able to structure themselves in a more either a more benefitful type of environment, or in another environment. But do you believe that people should pay their dues in the comic industry, just like they do sometimes in the acting and writing industry? Like a lot of people, they want that superstar stuff right off the get-go, even though they're very talented. They want to get in there based on their stuff without having a reputation or without a proven track record. And in a wonderful world, that'd be fantastic. If I just wrote this, I just wrote Sanity. I'm worth $5 bazillion. Pay me. That would be in a perfect world. But right now, what you're doing is you're doing something to start a track record for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is yeah, in an ideal world, it'd be like a total meritocracy and you'd work your way up and you'd like get the opportunity and like the people who are good would just get, you know, that the next gig and they would be able to do whatever and it would work that way. But it just doesn't, you know, it just doesn't work that way. And there's too much noise and there's too much competition. And
It also takes away
it's
the
really
incentive.
difficult. And a lot of people look like, I mean, I'm proud of Sanity, but there's the only reason that I hit my goal or doubled my goal and stuff is because I have a YouTube channel that I can help sort of get the word out there and promote it. So in a lot of ways, it's like, oh, I jumped the line to be able to write my own comic book. There's a lot of people who have probably written a lot of comic books and, you know, they want to do a Kickstarter and couldn't hit their goal and stuff. And so where I'm going with that is like, there's just, it's so difficult. It's so competitive that you just have to find your own way if you can. And having an organization or whatever give you permission to be, you know, given the opportunity is like just something that I don't know if you want to wait for someone else to say yes.
That makes a lot of sense. So based on what you just told me, let's say tomorrow morning you get a call from Marvel or DC, one of the big two, and they turn around and say, hey, Mickey, Swaggle, we want you to write this 3-4 issue arc or miniseries for us. We're going to pay you shit. We're going to pay you shit, but you're going to do a Main Street title. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, of course I would do it because it's a good opportunity to have on the
Because
resume.
you're looking at it as a platform.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter that you're getting paid shit right there. If it's successful and people see your writing, you'll get a lot bigger opportunities down the line because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
that's my point of paying dues when I tell a lot of people.
And
a lot of people cry all the time about Marvel pays shit, DC pays horribly, that kind of thing. I tell everybody this: use them just as much as they use you. So they're paying you very little. They're also giving you a platform and a stage to be able to show your skills to a much larger demographic and a much larger group of people than you ever will doing an indie book.
Yeah.
And that will open up doors for you if you do a good job.
So in the creative field, in my directing thing, I always talk about the 3 R's, which are real, relationship, revenue, right? So every time you have a job that is in front of you, ideally they have one of the things. You would optimally want them to have 2 of the things. And then the dream jobs they have 3 of the things, right? So it's for your real. So it's like, okay, I get to say I have Daredevil on my resume. It's for the relationship. I want to work with this editor at Marvel because I think I can build something and we can continue to work together. Or revenue. They're going to pay me a shitload of money to write this thing. So ideally you can have at least 2 of them, you know? So that's what you just have to decide. Like sometimes you do something for the real, you know, or sometimes, and even though it doesn't pay very well, or sometimes you do it for the relationship. So yeah, if you have an opportunity like that, it's worth it.
So what's your dream job? If you had one opportunity that you would love to do more than any other in the comic industry, we're not talking about the movie industry, we're not talking about the TV, because sky's the limit there. You could do a lot of stuff there. And you never know what like I'm sure you wouldn't shy away from doing a Star Wars film or something like that. But in the comic industry, you get one title, one character to work on. What's that going to be?
You know what my answer is going to be.
It might not have to be one title, one character. It could be a team title.
No, I'm pretty sure. But I'm gonna write for Darkhawk.
Really, is it going to be Darkhawk? You got one freaking opportunity to write. You're going to pick that Darkhawk?
Oh man!
All right, you better make him good.
Yeah, yeah. I would say the other one.
Looks good. He looks good, but he never was like, I don't know, my character. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would be attracted to writing something like Doctor Strange, to be honest. I think I'd be pretty excited to do that.
That'd be cool. Strange is an interesting character. You could write endless stories for, because mystical arts and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff is good. But
They-
I'm
they-
not gonna shit on you with the Dark Hawk. You like Dark Hawk, do Dark Hawk. What am I gonna tell
Yeah.
you?
Well, maybe I don't want to write Dark Hawk because that would be like, it's like
Writers
yeah, just keep that
execution.
away. Like it's like I want it to stay pure. I don't want to like taint my view of this character or whatever.
Well, it's almost like meeting your heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
You might not want to touch that because you might screw it up or it might change it in a play where you don't like it anymore in its original form and you only like your form after. Like, can you ever? Did you ever like have senses of arrogance where you said to yourself, you read something like, "Oh, this is shit. I could do this so much better." What's that
Yeah.
book that you read that you're like, "Oh my god, this
Well,
is horrible."
I'm not gonna say anything.
Come on, you got to say something. Come on, give us something.
I don't know. I don't know the last time I've had that, but I
see it
definitely
all the
feel
time.
like I've read or watched movies or whatever. Where I was just like, oh man, like if this is the bar, I feel pretty confident.
All right. You're gonna take the PC energy. You're not gonna call something out.
No.
Okay. So do you feel that this is your greatest success individually or Sanity so far? Or do you feel that you've done something much more successful prior to this?
I think I have to check back in once I get through issue 6 because I feel like the job is so not even close to being done.
It's not over, so you're not going to comment on it until it's done.
Yeah.
And speaking of the job, now we got issue 1. When are we
Yeah.
expecting issue 2?
So issue 2 is done. But I was saying before the stream started how I kind of wanted to release issue 2 and 3 together. So 3 is being worked on. And so I'm hoping that it can get into a place where it feels close to being done. And then maybe by like end of October, Halloween time, I can start to get that second Kickstarter kind of up and running. And that might be sort of like, in the spirit of Halloween, it'll be a good time to get it rolling.
And do you feel that now this was launched back in June, right?
Yeah, like
Okay.
May or something like that.
Do you feel that there's too much of a lapse between now June and October? Is that a concern of yours, or do you have like a schedule in your mind as far as quarterly, bi-monthly, that kind of thing of how you want to release the books without having the fear of having too much time lapse?
I suppose it could be a little bit of a concern, but I think because I'm in a situation where, I mean, the majority of the marketing for it is through my YouTube. And so my YouTube's, it's not going to go anywhere, right? So it'll be like here, or I'm going to ask favors from channels like you and be like, when it's ready to come back on and help get the word out and stuff. So hopefully it doesn't hurt it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Now, do you feel you have the need to actually do another Kickstarter to do it? Because people kind of know it now. You know that the first Kickstarter was successful. I know you have to pay fees to go through Kickstarter. Is that necessary? Yeah. Or do you feel that you could do everything straight through your website without having to do another Kickstarter?
It's a good question. I think I could just do it just back through my website again and have it be that way. But I think the Kickstarter, because it's not any more expensive for anyone to do the Kickstarter than it would be to sort of just buy the comic itself. If anything, the Kickstarter is cheaper based on like how I designed like the tiers and stuff. So I think the Kickstarter just gives sort of this like North Star for everyone to like rally around, which I think sort of helps.
Well, it also helps you as far as being able to raise the funds to release it ahead of time without putting upfront money.
Yeah, exactly. So it helps cover the cost in a way that takes the burden off of me to like front all of the money, which is really helpful because it's like I'm doing it all as my own sort of self-published thing.
How big of a print run was this?
So it's 3,000 was the print run.
Okay, that was total or just the A issue?
I should say 3,000, 3,500 essentially. So
was that ever a concern of yours as far as the print run? Or you just didn't care. You wanted to print as many you needed to sell, and probably keep some extra for maybe cons and for yourself. Was that
It,
always
it
the
was,
mentality?
yeah, it was. I think I kind of asked around. Like, I think I talked to, like, Reggie, who has a comic that he's doing with Doug Bratton, asking about, okay, well, what did you guys make? And just kind of got some feelers out. And I felt like 3,000 was, around where it would want to be. And, with enough people supporting and stuff. And then, hey, if I ever hit the grand slam and it becomes like some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles level property, then yeah, 3,000 was the print run of issue 1 for that. So it could be maybe a grail that comes out of it.
Well, do you feel that people get too hung up on those print counts sometimes?
They definitely get too hung up on it, but it was something that I thought about quite a bit, considering, since like our circle of comics sort of is in this like collecting, side of the comic world. I felt like I had to at least think about that stuff, as opposed to like, let's say I had like a comic book YouTube that was more about reading, then maybe people wouldn't care as much about that stuff.
Interesting. Interesting, because I'm picking your brain right now, because I've talked to you that I'm working on my own project as well. And the print count is the least of my concerns on a personal level. I don't care if it's 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, doesn't matter to me. As long as my orders get fulfilled, I know that everybody that wants one is going to get one. And then there's some left over for me to have on a personal level, either like for a con or whatever the case is. That's my mentality. And the more I print, the cheaper it comes. That's the way I look at it. So people can get a much more affordable copy that way. I don't know. That's the way I look at it. But is your ultimate goal to get into LCSs?
I mean, it would help. It would help to get the book out there. I mean, it definitely, it makes a huge difference when you have other people helping get the word out. Like you really need to have, help on that front with the marketing, or help with other people getting the word out, or help with retailers or other people who are selling the books in their live streams and whatnot. It makes a big difference. So it would be nice. Yeah. And a couple of local places here in LA, I've been able to get it in that store, but
that's what I was about to ask you. Have you pitched it, or you have convinced any local LCS to
carry it? Yeah, just a couple that I just have personal relationships with, that they were happy to do it. So,
and do they like have a big picture of you next to the books, or like a bobblehead or something next to the books? Like
no, yeah,
Swagglehaus bookie here. And
yeah, I don't think anyone cares. In the LCS world, but yeah, I don't know how they did it.
No Swagglehaus bobblehead, or like a floating balloon, waving man, or anything like that.
No, nothing like that.
That's a little disappointing.
Yeah, I can make Swagglehaus branded flamethrowers after
I was going to get into that. I saw a comment there, and I didn't want to interrupt your thought on that, but I think just like Knucking Futz and a lot of us, we did take note of that little promo that you did of Burning Comics.
Yeah.
And I know that I have a little bit of pet peeve with the artificial manipulation that has happened with a lot of the comic books of late.
Yeah.
I know that you did it joking at that point, but how seriously do you take that as far as the manipulation of print counts by burning them or destroying them and that kind of thing? Like, do you appreciate that? Do you like that? Is it something that you're for? Is it something that you're against?
So, I'm definitely against the way that it has happened with CGC, and I would slip this punch a little bit by trying to say, like, my burning books is different than maybe some of the other things, because the other ones are.
Listen, I'm not gonna make you talk bad about your friend Bry. Okay,
no,
I've already said my thoughts about him. So let's not I know that you're like edging for me not to talk about that.
No. I'm
not going to make a point of it, because I've already shit on him enough.
Well, here's the difference. It's like, so they're printing 3,000 to then destroy down to 500. I'm printing 3,100 so that when I get damages and stuff, I can fulfill out those orders, and then I'm destroying the extra copies that are left over of the print run. So there's a difference of destroying down versus having an overrun that you equalize back to the advertised print run. So
well, printers have been doing that for ages.
yeah.
You know,
So-
whenever they like Diamond's been doing forever. Whenever they would get a order count of, let's say, 100,000 copies, they'd have 105 printed out or whatever,
Right.
101, just to make sure that they have copies to be able to fulfill any kind of damages that are done. So that's like a normal standard practice.
Yeah, correct.
But what got you to want to burn them? Like, couldn't you think of like a much more malicious way to get rid of them? Other
Well,
than
I was
burning?
thinking maybe that would be the joke, because like when I do the next issues and I have to get rid of them, I was like, oh, do I have to think of more creative ways to destroy the comics each time around?
Well, there's a guy that was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still in here. The promiscuous time traveler, who gave his Something's Killing Children trade paperback an acid bath, which destroyed the shit out of it. So
Yeah.
if you need somebody to give you a cocktail of how to make an acid bath to destroy them, you got a guy there. Well, how about just ripping off the cover and giving it to like a children's hospital or something, like for kids to read, or library for them to read, like old school, rip the title or the bottom off of it, just like the newsstands used to do it.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe there's a few floating around copies of a destroyed book, but at least they're not going to waste.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good way. That's definitely a good way to do it.
That's something I've actually asked a lot of people. I don't know why so many people are so apprehensive to that thought. You know, it's work. You got to rip one by one cover. I get it.
It is a lot of manual labor, that's for sure.
But if it's only 50, 100 copies that are over, I think that's, it's not hard. And you feel good about yourself. You take it to like a library or something, and little kids could like read it and stuff like that. And maybe they'll become Swagglehaus fans the way that Stan Lee fans were born. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It's just an idea, But burning is much more visual. Listen, let's get it wrong. If you want to make a visual impact and get people's eyebrows raised, you burn them and give them acid baths and drown them. Do whatever you got to do to destroy them.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, all of these questions are good, valid questions, but at the end of the day, I just did it because of the theatrics.
No, it was good theatrics. I'll give you that much, and it was perfect timing. Perfect timing with all the controversy that was happening.
If transparency, I
don't think you even timed it that way. I don't think when you started coming with the concept of it, I don't think that controversy.
No. Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's like, Bri is a buddy of mine, and however people feel about it. But I actually called Bri and I said, hey, by the way, I made this commercial where I'm burning these books, and this is not a jab at you, but funny timing.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have loved it.
Yes, yeah. He thought it was funny.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If anything, it was mostly a jab at the Spawn 306 stuff. That I don't know if you caught wind of that whole
stuff.
thing.
This is the latest controversy.
Yeah, this is the latest one. But even at that time, it was already kind of like, hey, what's going on here with this book? And so it had a lot to do with that type of that story.
So we're not going to have any issues coming from you where you're giving these out at gaming competitions, and then take them away and say we destroyed them, and then suddenly 1,000 copies are going to appear. That's not going to happen with Sam.
You are not going to have a warehouse find of those variants over there. No.
All right. So we know your dream project. It's going to be Darkhawk. I'm going to hold you to it. Even though you try to change it, no, you're going to do Darkhawk. That's going to be it. Who's your dream person to collaborate with? What artist would you love to be able to sit down, write for, and see your writing come to life with?
Man, that's a good question.
Well, that's what I do. I ask good questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, man, who would I want to collaborate with? So, well, I mean, my mind goes to like certain cover artists right away, and maybe I think to cover artists because I'm legitimately trying to ask some of these cover artists. But there's like modern artists, like there's a guy named EM Gist who's like one of my favorite.
I'll make your life easy. Anybody from our comic history.
Well, John Buscema, I think, is my favorite artist ever.
That's a great choice.
Yeah, so I think even his covers are amazing, but even his interior work was amazing too. And so he's my kind of nostalgia pick as
And he's a
W.
wonderful sequential artist.
Yeah,
has
he
done
really was
some
a really great
panel work.
Yeah, I think
Really, really. I hold him on the same status as Romita Senior.
Yeah, I think Romita for sure, and then I think him. Like they really, it really went up a level with them. I think.
Beautiful work. If you look at some of his Conan work, unbelievable work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's a great choice. Great choice.
Yeah. So
he's
my
and it's not cookie cutter. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank
cool.
you for not telling me Rob Liefeld or something like that, because I'm a freak out if you tell me he's Rob Liefeld. So we got potentially issue 2 and 3 coming in October. Realistically, with your time frames, when do you think you'll be completion for the full 6-issue series, if all goes well?
I would say summer of next year. We'd be done with
summer next year. So sometime around this time of the year, you're going to be complete. You're going to be done. Are you going to be doing any cons in the meantime? Anything like that?
A couple local cons. I did some here in the SoCal area. I have one more coming up. I'm feeling the FOMO to go to NYCC, not with Sanity, not with the book, but just to go. So I might make it out to that.
I love you, Six Face. Thank you so much for saying that.
That would be a good time.
I think it should be a good time. Actually, like if you're doing the local cons, you're not going to do anything major though. You're not going to go get one of those $10,000 table booths or anything like that.
No.
Smart guy. Wait till you hit Marvel or DC.
We gotta sell a lot more books before we get
make them pay for it. Make them pay for it. You gotta make your way back to New York City.
I'm thinking about it. I'm hoping I can. Yeah. Are you gonna go?
Well, I'm definitely going because I'm here. You know,
right.
I already. Here's the thing. I have an agreement that with CGC right now, and they're sending me down to Baltimore to become a witness.
Oh, cool.
So I already have tickets for New York City. There is a possibility they might want me to help in New York as well. And depending on how it goes in Baltimore, if they fucking annoy me, I don't want to do it anymore. Like I'm looking at Baltimore as a test run and like a paid vacation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of job is that? You go there and watch people at a con and you talking bullshit with writers and artists.
Yeah.
I figured why not? Because I just recently got certified as a CGC artist. So like I could certify my own artwork. And that's how I turned into a witness as well. So it's a trial period. So New York, either I'm going to go for leisure or I might have to partially do CGC witnessing. But either way, I'm going to be there. So anybody that's coming down to NYC, we talked about it as well. Look me up. We'll go get some good food. We'll go hang out after.
Oh, yeah. I'll definitely let you know if I can make it happen. I want to make it happen. I think I put in my trying to get a creator badge for it. So I'm going to wait for that. But we'll see. Well, I'll probably go.
Good luck. Good luck with NYC.
No, I know. It's the requirements that they have. I'm like, okay, well, I certainly don't hit these requirements, but we'll see.
They might be. I don't know who's harder, San Diego or New York. But
I think New York is harder.
But New York, they're not messing around. They're like, this is it. We don't care who you are. You could be Stan Lee for all we care. Get the fuck out of here.
No. For people in the chat, just so you know, like you have to have a following of 250,000 on your social platforms, which for comic book YouTube is like, I mean, how many people actually qualify for that? There's probably like 4 channels that are comic related for that.
There's a lot that's related to that. I think it's more than 4 that you're saying.
I would say, like, if you're assuming like comic book review or reading, like there's comic, pop culture channels, but I don't count those. Like I wouldn't count like Cosmic Wonder or Emergency Awesome as like a comic book.
No, those are way over the top.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, out of all the comic channels out there, big or small, like the true comic rated, not the emergency awesome, those kind of things. I'm talking about it's all comic related. What's your favorite one to watch?
Well, I definitely take advantage of Comics Explained quite a bit.
I love them. I love
Yeah.
Rob.
Like, I mean, he's definitely as far as like the historian of comic stories and stuff. I mean, doesn't get any better than him. So I've definitely taken advantage of his information.
He's fantastic, and I don't think he gets from this community as much appreciation as he should, because he's a gateway channel.
Oh yeah,
you find your way into this community through a channel like that. You go in, you like Comic Explain, what the hell is this? All of a sudden, you get Swagglehaus being recommended to you, Comic Tom recommended to you,
right.
A whole Anachronic Comics, Comic Journey sometimes will get suggested to you. So it's a big deal. I love channels like that, and that's a great channel for anybody that doesn't watch Comic Explain and really needs to get some storylines and stuff like that explained to them without having to go buy the book. Go watch it. I think through his library you'll be able to find stuff that you want to discover and not necessarily read. And he does it in a very entertaining way. So great choice. You think you're ready for some questions, Mickey?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You think so? Let's see.
I hope so.
I don't know. Let's see what kind of questions people are going to be asking us right now, because it could get weird.
Could get personal.
It could get personal. I don't know if we could get more personal than we have gotten. Like, by the way, speaking of personal, what's going on with your love life? You still spoken for? What's going on?
Yeah. Things are good. Just same old. So
you didn't go out on your own after you became a big writer and stuff like that? And
no, just it turns out all the viewers on my analytics are comic nerds like us.
Well, you hear that, people. No sexy time for you from Swaggle. We'll keep you updated on each time he comes on, but that's it. But let's get into the questions.
Any questions?
You gonna answer no questions, and I won't tell you no lies.
Hey Lord, don't ask me questions. Hey Lord, don't ask me questions,
What do you want? What do you want from us? To ask you this much is just a matter of trust, not an affront. What do you want?
All right. Let's find out what they want. I start some questions because I said I was going to do it. So, see, I'm honoring my word, people. Let's start with Nuck and Futz. By the way, one of the best names in the community. I love that name. Mickey, what inspired your book? What inspired your book? Other comics, I guess, other than comics?
Maybe there's some commas in there. Mickey, what inspired your book? Other comics, a TV show,
Other
a
comics.
movie?
There you go. So you can read better than me.
Yeah, a few different things inspired it. I mean, like it's definitely a throwback to, sort of the detective style comics, or like the PCH, like the pre-code horror, like those types of covers and those stories, as far as like a comic book influences. So just wanting to do something that was kind of a classic kind of pulp detective adventure. I just love that stuff, and I love collecting that stuff already. So it'd be fun. It was fun to kind of live in that space. And then writing influences, like Ed Brubaker is my favorite writer. So I always like
What's your favorite Brubaker run?
Well, Fatale is like a noir thing that I really, really like. I mean, that's a huge inspiration. His Captain America stuff is
excellent.
I mean, that's the creme de la creme, in my opinion. So those are kind of, I'd say like all of those amalgamations and stuff. And then like just other like Lovecraft stuff, whether it be from like other, video games and movies and board games and things like that. So yeah.
Very cool. And we answered a lot more of that during the interview. So I think we got a good idea of what you're into and what inspires you.
Yeah.
What does Swagglehaus house, not Haas, house.
Hose.
House, like Swaggle in the house, like German
Yeah.
style, you know?
Like the house.
Swaggle House in doing comics. Well, what he does in comics is he wrote a freaking book and he's gonna finish a mini series. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And he has a channel. It's called Swagglehaus Comics and Games. And he talks about comic books there, and he made a freaking comic book index. And he tells
yeah.
people what the significance of things are. That's what he does. Is there anything I'm missing, Swaggle?
No, that was it. That's what I do.
That's what he does. Pay attention, promiscuous. Pay attention. All right. And then we got actual Dracula. The fall of the occult? No, not the fall of the occult. The rise of the occult. It's the rise of the occult, not the fall, the rise.
He was talking about the next subtitle could be the fall.
Oh, maybe. Oh, he's jumping the gun.
He's jumping the gun. That's down the line.
Wait, does he know something we don't know? Uh-oh.
Lip sealed.
Maybe Dracula's conspiring with Swaggle. I don't know. Question Q. That's what question stands for. Q. Which is worse, AI art in comics or a co-worker stealing your lunch?
Oh, coworker stealing your lunch is worse, right?
Depends on what the lunch is.
Well, that's true. But I'm assuming if they steal it, it was probably because it was a good lunch.
Either that or they didn't know what's in that brown bag.
Yeah.
It could be a brown bag surprise.
It's true. But does that mean that you pack not good lunches?
Well, if you catch somebody stealing your lunch over and over again, maybe you put a little surprise in that brown bag for them.
Yes. And they get served their comeuppance.
Yeah, but vengeance will be yours.
Yes.
Actually, now that you asked that question, what do you think is worse, AI art or artists actually doing lighthouse copies or stealing of images that are existing already? Because there's been multiple cases of artists doing that.
Well, that was the thing
that's a good comparison.
It's hard to say. Like, I don't know if one is worse or whatever, but I mean, it almost feels like the AI art stealing it is not as bad. Like
any better.
What's that? Yeah, because it's just a program, right? So it's just taking from whatever. It's like a person who does it. It's like what you're doing, so that's almost worse.
It's maliciousness with intent.
Yeah.
All right. Question: did you pitch or consider pitching Sanity to any of the publishers, or did you always intend to do self-published Kickstarter route? Good question.
Yeah, I did consider pitching it, but I just it wasn't a heavy consideration. It was I did look into like, okay, what would it take and stuff, and I think a lot of the pitches, or not a lot of them, but some of them require like, okay, like who's your artist and like will you let's see some pages and stuff like that. And by the time I found my artist and I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna fund him to do some pages, I was like, oh, like I'll just do this myself. Like it was like, again, it's that what I was saying earlier, where it's having to wait for someone's permission to do it. I just didn't want to have to do that.
So did you actually talk to a couple of the major indies before this, or was it smaller ones?
No, it's small. I wouldn't say that I went in any serious conversations. I did talk to a couple people about it, but very casually. But there's some publishers that have like actual, like you go to their site, they have actual submissions and stuff that you could do. I didn't end up doing any of that.
And if you had to pick a indie publisher to carry the brand of Sanity, who do you think that would be what would be the right fit for you?
Well, I'd say that I mean, I'd love to work with Boom or Image. I think that they're kind of the big two when it comes to indie work and stuff, and might be a good fit in there.
Do you think McFarlane would do Alan Moore to you, or try to play a little shenanigans with you, or would he be on the up and up with you if you went into Image?
I don't know. I don't know.
As long as you don't write on Spawn, you might be okay.
Yeah, I'll stay away from that.
You just keep that in mind if you go to Image.
Yeah, so he's going to look into my channel and then he's going to see me talking about Spawn 306 and he's going to be like, I'm not going to work with this guy.
Or he might love it that you're giving him attention to it.
Yeah, so, that's true.
So Image Boom would be the fits. Maybe Aftershock could be a good fit.
Yeah, but Aftershock folded, right? Or they are gone?
Wait, is Aftershock or Scout the one that's no? Actually, it is Aftershock that's folding.
Yeah, I think they just folded not too long
What a
ago.
shame.
So
What
yeah,
a
it's
shame.
crazy.
You know, AWA could be a good fit for you too.
Oh,
They actually might be a really, really good fit for you because they do a lot of stuff like this. And what I've noticed, even though they don't get a lot of fanfare and a lot of public attention, everything that they put out there, I want to say 99% of the stuff they put out there is good quality stuff. Really good quality stuff.
I'll definitely look into them.
Would you ever consider working with Dinesh and going into bad ideas with him?
Yeah, I'd love to work with Dinesh, especially since
Because there's another one that pulls out quality stuff. He
Yeah.
has idiot ideas as far as marketing him, but you know,
no, I would definitely love to work with him, especially since I have a relationship with him. So yeah, that would be another one to have a conversation with.
I've noticed like consistently all the stuff that I don't understand. I do understand, but I don't understand his mindset on what he's doing. But one thing that is consistent, they do put a good quality product out there as far as the books are concerned. Whether you like their marketing or not, the actual books themselves, the writing, the art is all good quality stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he's not like taking a more of the conventional route to be able to give more to the readers than they can. I think it's more of a turnoff than anything else the way he's approaching it. You know, at one point I was getting everything bad idea. Now everything here in New York stop actually picking up bad idea.
Oh,
so
really?
I can't even get those books if I wanted to. So
I just wonder if it's like, is it it's so hard, man. It was like what we were talking about. Like there's so much noise. You got to like think of something to get people talking. So
yeah, but you can't restrict them from selling any other day than Wednesdays, and you can't restrict them on certain. There's some goofy shit that he did.
Yeah.
Pissed off the LCSs. They're like, I don't want to deal with this guy.
Yeah.
You can't order his stuff through Diamond. You can't do any of that stuff. You got to order it directly from Bad Idea, and you have to be one of their special stores that has spies sent to them.
Yeah, it makes it a little difficult.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. I like the product. I like the quality of the books. I like the talent that they bring up aboard them. I just don't like their promotion for it. So maybe you could join forces with him and get him to actually put Sanity on a good cycle. Who knows?
Yeah. How about everyone in the chat? DM him right now and tell him that you think that he should work with Swagglehaus.
Maybe he should. Maybe we should all bombard Dinesh and just say, listen, why aren't you covering Swagglehaus?
Yeah. Why aren't I? Why isn't he?
Maybe we should start a hashtag give Swaggle a chance.
Give me a chance. That's what I'm asking for. That's what I want.
I think that's what. Listen, I think that people. I think what we do. I think we need to give Swaggle a chance. So let's hashtag it all across the freaking Twitterverse and the IG verse and all that shit, and get Dinesh's attention and harass him. If he doesn't like him, send him other stuff that will annoy him. So it'll work out really, really well. Now, I did notice on the back of this, you do have a QR code.
Yes.
You can't. I'm not letting you people look at it. What's in the QR code? I didn't check it yet.
It's my YouTube.
All right. I don't care. I know your YouTube.
Yeah.
All right.
It goes to my YouTube.
Is there a digital copy of this available?
There is a digital copy. It's gonna go to all the people in the Kickstarter who backed it. I will be sending that to them. And then I wasn't sure what to do with it outside of that. It was like what you were talking about earlier, where people didn't want to, if they bought something they don't want to touch or whatever. And so that was something I thought like, oh, okay, on the Kickstarter, I'm gonna give everybody a digital copy so that if they could just read it that. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's hard. It's hard to sell the digital copy, just from a business perspective, right? You put it out for like whatever, $1 or $2 or something. And then it's like,
well, I'm surprised you didn't have a beginning tier with with the just the digital copy of like $5-10.
Well,
That
I
way-
thought about that, but then I think I was like, I wanted to get the book out there. So the lowest tier was $8, and so it was like a comic with some knickknacks, and then you also got a digital copy. So that was like the lowest tier.
Oh, you did include it in there, so I didn't realize that. So
Yeah.
that works out well. Yeah, for $8, I think you can't go wrong with it. Even though I don't know if it's feasible for you to send them out for $8 with knickknacks and all that stuff. That gets costly. Did you get a lot of people that did order one single book? Or
Yeah, I
did
mean,
they do
there's
multiple
there's a decent amount, but like I think the more people got other stuff.
I think I have another question here that I missed. Hold, give me a second. There it goes. I knew I had another question. So we got a question from K-pop. Question: would you ever try dual launch of Kick or Indie? That's something I've been noticing lately, and we did hear a couple of artists actually say that they did that route, artists and writers.
Oh,
Would you
interesting.
actually would you actually simultaneously kick them both together?
Oh, interesting. So people legitimately had two separate campaigns going on each of them.
Two separate campaigns. Now, the difference between Indie and Kickstarter, which I'm sure you know, is Kickstarter, it's not guaranteed.
Right.
So if you don't reach your goals, everybody get like their pledge, they don't get charged until the goal gets hit. Indiegogo, you get charged immediately as far as a person, and you could legitimately sit there in limbo until the goal gets hit.
Oh, interesting.
So what happens a lot of times, you have a higher expectation goal on the Kickstarter, a lower expectation goal on the Indiegogo, and you'll have two separate you might have the base items that are the same, but you might have an exclusive Kickstarter copy and an exclusive Indiegogo copy to keep them both going simultaneously. Now, it could work for you. It could bite you in the ass. It all depends on how loyal your people are and how much you're able to consolidate a lot of that support that comes in there, because it could cannibalize your users. You know, the people that actually come in there. But if you got a big enough base and you got people that are really behind your project, you know, you see, you got Indiegogo, you got Fund My Comic, Kickstarter, Zoop.
Yeah, Zoop is interesting. I looked into Zoop because Zoop will do the fulfillment for you, which I thought was kind of a nice perk. Yeah, that's an interesting strategy. I think I'd have to look into it. I mean, it sounds like maybe it's a little bit more of a work or effort that you'd have to do. But yeah, that would be it'd be interesting. I mean, because the other thing is too is like, you know, people always say, oh, you want like just the one, so that because people really rally behind a winning project, you know. So if you see this big number and it's like, oh, you know, everyone's like, oh, this is the winning project, I'm gonna jump on board. So I'll look into that though.
Well, look into it, and you know, K-pop, you should actually keep in touch with her because she has a lot of people that she's been endorsing with Kickstarters, Indiegogos, talking to a lot of creatives out there, especially people that are the second, third, fifth project going on and so on. So she could be a good person as far as being able to reach out to and get a better comprehensive understanding of how that stuff works. So
yeah, that would be great to know.
I would connect with her on IG or something like that. She's a good resource and a good person.
Good. Yeah, very good to know.
Sometimes she's mean, but you know, sometimes she's nice. Okay. So, question, Swaggle. I'm a big film and TV fan. Have you directed or written any big shows or films? I know of something.
Well, a large part of my career, I've directed lots of music videos and commercials, and I've done a lot of work in video games and stuff. So it depends on what your niche is, but I had a little bit of a hand in working on some of Magic the Gathering as an animated show. I've had a little bit of a hand in a show called Arcane. It was like a Netflix animated series that I did pre-development for. So more niche things than that. But yeah, Maybe Sanity. I've done a lot of TV work for like let me see. What have I done? Commercial work for title credits and things like that as well. Super
So what
fun.
you do-
Like a lot of
what
Ryan
you
Murphy
do-
shows.
What's your dream project on movies or TV? And if you say Dark Horse, I swear the interview's over right now.
Let me see.
The Dark Hawk, the Dark Horse, Dark
Yeah,
Hawk.
yeah. What would be my dream? You know, some fantasy movie or series or something like that.
Like a Conan kind of thing, or Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd even get more nerdy, and I'd say something like the World of Warcraft
Holy
TV
shit!
series or something like that, or other fantasy IPs being adapted. That would be pretty
Holy
epic.
shit! You're entering super geek
Oh yeah,
territory right now.
like what about a Diablo movie? You know, something crazy like that.
Oh shit! Now you're entering. You want to do a deep cut? Why don't you do a Quake revival?
Quake too. Yeah, I think we're gonna enter the video game adaptation thing here. You know,
You believe that?
it seems like it would be right because, you know, if from a Hollywood perspective, if they feel like the well is kind of empty with all the superhero stuff, they got to like think, okay, well, what's the next like IP rich territory? So
Well, is it something new though? It's been happening for a while now. It just hasn't happened like, very consistently as the superhero stuff. But even the superhero stuff before the big Marvel revolution, so to say, there were a lot of superhero comic book related IPs that were being adapted to comics. It wasn't a new thing, and even a lot of the stuff that you didn't even realize was a comic adaptation was there. There was a lot of stuff going on. And the same thing happened with video games. I mean, you go back to the 90s, you had the Resident Evils, the Silent Hills, you had a whole bunch of stuff that was happening.
Yeah, it's true. I guess you're right. It's always been there, but it hasn't. No one's really like knocked it out of the park yet, right? Like, or
That's true.
Done the like whatever it is. I don't know what's the Halo cinematic universe. You know,
No. The only one that has been up to this point that I believe has been able to meet expectations and make their fans happy. And I'm not a big Mario fan, but Mario, it did it.
Yeah, Mario did. Yeah.
All the spots.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. I mean, maybe we're gonna get the Nintendo universe. You know,
Comic Collector Geek. He actually said that his goal is to come in. Correct me if I'm right. For 2 and 3 to hit market October, or is the Kickstarter October?
October would be my goal. Yeah.
Okay. Silver options take basically doesn't fund.
They take the amount raised and we'll send that out. What is raised?
She knows way more. She like I use like, yeah, it's so bad for a male to say I use a woman, but I use her for all her wealth of knowledge because she's actually a very, very helpful person.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I'm gonna follow up with K-pop Junkie later.
Definitely connect with her, and you should actually do her farthest series. I don't know if you've followed that, but that's probably the quickest growing interview series for creators, where it's very casual, but a lot of stuff is being discussed during those interviews. So definitely, you should go on that prior to the Kickstarter.
For sure, yeah, I'd love to.
Zoop is an interesting thing. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I met some of the guys who work at Zoop and stuff. I was talking to them about their stuff, and yeah, they seem like they're trying to, you know, really be, you know, a really good platform and stuff. And so they have some stuff, but yeah, it's too bad that maybe that you had an issue with one of their projects.
Well, they had a couple of issues, but at the same time, another issue is like, let's say you're a writer that wants to sign all your books. You might have a problem there. Let's say you're an artist that wanted to do remarks or add a few extra things. It's a little bit of a double process and it's a little bit costlier per issue to the consumer at the end of the day.
Right.
So there's a little bit of give and take. I mean, for a 50, 100 book run, maybe a couple hundred book run of an issue, it's a very viable option. But
Right.
once you go into those deeper things, I'm not sure.
Right.
Only people that have used it could answer that question if it's viable, if it makes sense or not. You know, and I'll be talking to people like that across the line, and you should definitely be talking to people as you go into October, because I think that's really, really important. You missed part of the interview? Well, you're gonna have to watch the rewind. That's what's gonna happen. All right. You're okay for missing it, but now you're gonna have to watch the rewind and give me another view. That's how it works with the algorithm.
And a like.
And like. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, damn it.
Yeah.
That's what we do. You know? So we got Sanity. You have a separate Sanity channel?
No.
Oh,
I
is
don't
he
know.
just putting? I don't know what beef it is. It's probably your YouTube channel that he's putting in there.
Yeah, it could be.
We do have that in multiple times as well. It's in the description as well. I do have your IG. I do have your website in there. It has your face on there. It's all purple with your colors, your branding. Very methodical as far as your design. We could tell that it was all premeditated because you're an evil algorithm genius. You know your stuff. You know, did we miss anything? Well, tell me what are we missing? What is there something we haven't? Because I know I could dig into a lot more stuff, but this interview has gone about 2 hours so far, and I think we said enough. And I think we're going to leave enough out there dangling to make it interesting for another interview at some time in the future.
Yeah, because I need to come back, so we gotta have something else to talk about here.
Yeah, we're not gonna just give you all everything. Like that's part of like playing the YouTube game. We have to leave something dangling and make it special for the next time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like, I saw everything about Swaggle. What do I have to hear now? No, you get. There's more. There's more peeling of those layers that we're gonna do. Trust me. There's a lot. What do we mean? What do we mean? What do we mean? Magic the Gathering. I don't like magic. Yeah, you're a magic guy, aren't you?
I do like it. Yeah, I've worked with them. K-pop. I mean, it'll probably happen. It'll probably happen.
You are a magic guy. I knew you were a magic guy. I could see it in your eye, the twinkle when you're talking about it.
You know, it's fun. I would love to collect more magic cards, but like it's tough. It's like every time I think about buying like a Magic the Gathering Alpha, Grail card, I just think I could just buy a comic book instead.
Wait, were you one of those nuts that went to the tournaments and played like in the basement of a comic shop?
No,
for like 20 hours?
No, I never did that. I never.
Okay.
I kind of wish I did though. I respect it though. I respect it.
They scare me, those people. Those people scare me. The magic guys and the Pokemon guys freak me out and scare the hell out of me. They're loyal. They got a tight knit community, but they scare me with their freaky card things. I don't know, man. That is something that I do not understand, and I do not want to dive down that wormhole, and because they'll suck you in, you'll never come back out.
Yeah,
I noticed them.
Well, Magic was the original. I feel like the meme of table flip, like people getting upset and flipping the table. Like I think that came from Magic players. I'm pretty sure about that.
Hey, if it wasn't that, it was poker, and either way, both those card games turn you into a zombie. So you seen some of these Texas Hold'em guys that sit there for like 3-4 hour a day straight playing.
Oh man, yeah,
they're freaking minds. That's why they scare me. Like they got endurance. I don't want to mess with them. They're a special breed of nerd. They're much different than I am. I'll stick to my comics. We got a question here. Swag, you work hard. We've heard a lot, lots of your work and what you've done, and that's got nothing to do with comics or work or YouTube. Buy jet ski, go to the beach. I do not understand that question.
What do I do outside of work and YouTube? Well, there was my dog cameoed earlier, so I like to take my dog on hikes and stuff. I enjoy sports. I play an adult hockey rec league, which I very much enjoy. I like football, so I'm excited about the NFL season coming up. And I like music a lot, so I try
What are
to.
you, 49ers fan?
I am a 49ers fan. Yeah.
I figured I had you pegged for a freaking
Yeah.
49ers. You had to be. Yeah.
Dude, this is a make or break year for us. We're going to blow up the team. If they don't win the Super Bowl, I'm done. I'm done with the Niners.
Oh my God. Boo hoo. Try being a Bills fan.
Oh man.
Try being a Bills fan. That should tell you dedication. See,
Yeah.
I'm the football version of the freaky Magic players. Like I'm that special kind of freak that likes that team that just breaks your heart over and over again. That's
my God. You're just masochistic with your fandom.
Yeah, Twisted Metal was actually a good rendition of a game. Surprisingly.
Oh yeah, Twisted Metal. I didn't actually see it, but I actually heard it was kind of fun.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Very surprisingly. Because I'm like, how the hell are you going to turn this into the show? But they pulled it off. Question: what are some of your oldest video games that you've worked on?
Oldest that I worked on? Well, Riot Games, League of Legends, and then Wizards of the Coast and stuff. So those are the two.
And we'll get one last one out of Cyclotron. The Last of Us wasn't a hit. Yes, it was. It was a major hit.
Yeah. I guess he was saying like from like the video games haven't been as successful yet. It's like, oh, okay, well, Last of Us was a hit, but I guess I'm thinking of like
for every Last of Us, there's a lot of other Last of Nothings that have hit the streams, and especially the streaming era. There's been so many flops, comic book flops, video game flops, all kinds of IP flops because they're basically throwing darts at a thing and seeing what hits. They're trying to get that bullseye or something close to the bullseye, and they're not aiming well. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We already asked this question. I think we got everything, all the questions. I don't want to leave any questions empty. And now no more questions. Now we're done. Officially, no more questions. Be quiet, people. We're done. We're ending the interview. What do you do? What are you going to be doing over the next couple of days, next couple of weeks on your channel? Promote yourself.
Well, you mentioned the index, how I put that together. I think we're close approaching the end of the month here, which is usually the time that I gotta
give it. Let me do this the right way for you. Okay. Let's do this the right way for you. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give you an official look at me here on this video. Right. Let's give you the platform.
Look at me. Hey, everybody, look at me. Are you even listening to me? Look at me. Hey, everybody, look at me.
All right, let's all look at Swagglehaus.
Well, you asked what I have coming up on the channel. You mentioned earlier the index that I put together. If you guys don't know, I do a comic book index, which follows the values of the various comic book ages. And I usually do it on a month-by-month basis. So usually now, when we get to the end of the month, I pull in the numbers. So I'm sure in the next few days or so, I'll put together a video like that. So that's always a fun one that people really enjoy. So I'd say look out for that one.
Well, let me ask you something. You've been doing the heritage auctions. You've been doing a crossover like in comic books.
Yes.
I noticed that you did that last week, right? You did it with Automatic Comics and Como.
Yeah.
Well, what's the deal with that? Like, are you trying to be Jim Shooter and start these like whole crossover events happening in YouTube world? I forgot to ask you about that.
Yeah. Well, we, I've had been on their channels and we've done like different stuff together before, and we always talk about the big comic auctions through Instagram on DM anyways, and we just sort of figured, hey, this one's coming up, why don't we just stream it? Since
Yeah,
we're
but
all
you
gonna
almost
be-
made it feel like an event.
yeah, yeah. We tried to do it like that, and we thought it would be fun, and then so we're thinking like, I made the joke. I was like, we have these big auctions that come up quarterly or so, and it's like, could we cover these things like if it was the Super Bowl or something like that, and we can have like pre-game stats and make John Madden memes about it and all this stuff. And certainly it didn't have any of those bells and whistles on it, but I think that was the inspiration.
You know what you were missing? You were missing a complete asshole to be part of your panel as the color commentator.
Well, that's what we need. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if only we could find somebody like that. Who could we find?
I don't know who you could have found somebody like that would just comment on things and blurb things out as they come to his mind. I don't know who that you could have found.
Yeah. If you people in the chat, let me know if there's somebody out there, that could come in and just shoot some good quips, and just make fun of all the books and fun of people spending all this money. If we find that person, we'll get them on.
I'm sure if you think hard and look long enough, you will find that person. Yes. I have faith in you. I do have faith in you.
Yeah.
But that was excellent. I like the whole crossover idea. I like it when channels collaborate in that way. And other than the index, anything else coming up that we should know about? Are you doing any con walks or anything like that coming up? Any interviews coming up? Because you've been doing some really nice interviews of late.
Oh yeah. Nothing specifically yet to talk about, but certainly more to come. I mean, I have plans to talk to other people in the comic space, but nothing that is recorded yet. So I don't know. Index is really the main one that'll come next, and I'm sure I'll think of other random Spawn 306 variant stuff to talk about eventually.
All right, sounds good. Sounds perfect, and we'll find out what the significance of all that stuff you tell us is. That being said, go check out Swagglehaus if you haven't. Hey, listen. If you haven't subbed to him yet, go sub to him. If you like him, stay sub to him. And click a like on his video every so often. He likes that. And you know what else he likes? If you write a comment. And if it's your first time there, you write, Comic Journey said you don't suck on that comment.
I need that cosign.
Just make sure you put Comic Journey says you don't suck. And then he'll know he made it. He'll made it in life. That's all he needs. That's all he needs.
Just have a single proud tear that streams down my face.
That's you will be so happy, I assure you. Go get Sanity. There's still some of these books left over. The website's in the description. We put it in the chat. I think you're gonna love it. Here, I'll put it in there again just for the late bloomers and they haven't seen it in there. I think that's it. I think we said it all. Next week, we're going to be back again with the influencer series. And this time, we're going to be together with Gary B., the casual comic guy. And what are we going to talk about with him? You'll see. It's not going to be about Conan. I don't give a fuck about Conan. We're not going to talk about Conan with him. We're going to talk about Gary B., the Grow Together movement, how it's evolved over years. And you're going to get to see a Gary B. you've never seen before on the interview. You're going to want to watch it. It's not going to be the same regurgitated crap. You're going to like it. Much like I have with the Swagglehaus. This time we took it nice with the Swagglehaus because he came out for a second time. Third time, I don't know if I'm going to be nice to you. We'll see. But that being said, have a good night, everybody. I appreciate you all. I'm going to leave you all with a very, very heartfelt thank you. I'm going to leave you all with a very, very heartfelt thank you. And then we're going to sign off. Have a good night, everybody. Appreciate you all.
Thank you very much.
My friends, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I want to thank you much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. End broadcast. It's over. Ending. Bye. Thank you.